I've finished my first draft. How do I start editing?
Hmm. First question in return, it would be first draft of what?
Hmm,
Okay.
hmm,
So first, I mean, I will not get the answer to that. First draft of what? Because depending on what it is, the nitty-gritties will differ. How do I go about it? Get yourself an editor, unless you're already accomplished as a self editor.
hmm.
You need another person, you need another set of eyes, if not a whole room full of other set of eyes, get yourself an editor who will read and who will be ruthless.
Yeah,
This I cannot emphasize enough. It's very hard to be ruthless with your own writing, which is why you need a very good editor who will do you the great honor of reading you carefully and critically.
right,
Which is the
right.
first step.
Hmm. So yeah, and for the listeners, if they are not able to get a professional editor on board, perhaps sharing it with your friends can be the first step,
Yes,
and getting honest feedback from friends and
yes.
family.
This is why I said a
Hmm,
room full of
hmm.
eyes, because that room full could be your writers group. I'm hoping you have one or two trusted um, people. The problem with sharing it with family is they will invariably love what you do.
Yeah.
Um, very rarely will you find people who will say, so,
Hmm.
and when I say professional editor, the thing is that if you're thinking of writing as some sort of professional commitment, quote unquote professional, as in it matters enough for you to hone it to that level, you will have to seek out that kind of help. Okay.
Hmm.
To
Hmm.
seek maybe senior writers who already published something.
Hmm.
I cannot emphasize enough the need for every writer to have a community. Okay, a community of other writers and readers who are not your mirror image necessarily, who are bringing very different talents, with whom you can quarrel and who will be honest with you. Okay, so the more important than even cultivating the writerly self in splendid isolation would
Hmm.
be to seek out kindred souls whose values and whose judgment you can trust.
Amazing. And that could be by joining a book club, or maybe signing up for, workshops. That's how you're going to find
Absolutely.
your community. All right. Okay. So there are two interesting questions, Sampurna. I'll let you pick the one that you would like to answer. The first one is, how long should it take to write a novel? and and the second one is about the publishing industry. How do I pitch my story to a publisher?
So I'll answer the first one, because how
Hmm,
do I pitch? You'll find in
hmm,
innumerable
hmm,
um, help, um, help and hack kind of videos online, I'm sure,
hmm,
and also very valuable publishing related workshops that are
hmm,
conducted online. All these started during the pandemic years, and some of them are still going on. I myself did some for an organization in Kolkata, which were based on editing. They had a series of specialists talking. So keep your eyes and ears open for these kind of offerings, and go for it. I'll answer the first one, because how long should it take? Again, it depends entirely. How long? How can you work backwards? You can't. You can't say I have. Maybe I can, because I've just said publicly that I work backwards using time as a constraint. Suppose you had 1 hour, 1 hour to write a novel. Could you? No. Okay, you could write a text. So do not set time is a constraint, is a valid constraint only for certain kinds of writing. So if you have a book review to send in, or you have a news report to send in, you have a deadline, you work towards the deadline, you make the best of it. Okay. But when you're writing a novel, you have to be ready for the long haul. And how long that haul is depends on a multitude of factors, including what is it about, How accomplished are you already? How many novels have you written already? How many hours do you have? What is the subject? How well do you know it? Does it involve traveling? Have you done all your work already? And therefore, the writing time is only writing time. Um, all of these. And to give you two examples from my own, so that you know that I'm not talking through my hat in abstract terms. Ella, which is the shortest of the three novels that I wrote, took me about 2 years with a massive interruption in the middle because halfway through I did not know what to do until
Hmm.
I hit upon the idea of a novel within a novel. And I found the solution and I proceeded. Also because it was very research heavy, also because it was interrupted by all the other things I was doing. Hmm. Rupture and Land of the Well. Uh, I think I wrote the first drafts of those very, very fast because I was so intent on making up for lost time. I had an internal demon that was spurring me on.
Hmm.
I would have, I think I would have spent about 6 to 8 months putting the first drafts. That's very fast, according to me. And then revising it takes another year. Then it's a long haul. We won't go into that. Remember that I finished writing both the drafts uh, in about 2 years from the time I gave up advertising, but they came out almost 10 years later. Okay. And I am so glad that happened because they would have been severely diminished pieces of work if time had not played its role.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So there is no one answer. Figure it out as you go along.